Uncle Howdy has taken over WWE.com, and I feel like this debut is happening soon. This might be the biggest tease yet. I want us to take a look, and then we're going to discuss. So right here, if you go to WWE.com, it's a very simple hello. Now, we're going to talk about this image in a second, but let's read more. Let's see. Hello, I'd like to tell you a story about value. We often equate value with utilization. That is not the case. If a piece of currency is crumpled, ignored, and tossed to the side, does it lose its value? Of course not. It is simply in the hands of the ignorant. We often devalue ourselves as a result of the ignorance of those around us. Their words define us. I have been guilty of this myself. I have let the expectations of others determine my self-worth. But once I realized my calling, the words of the naysayers began to fall on deaf ears. I am nobody. I am all of us. When you free yourself from the preconceived ideas of others, from the lies, you become liberated. I accepted my calling. Only then was I able to set the others free. Clearly, this right here is a huge portion of the Wyatt Six. We followed the words of the Red, and now we see. The Red obviously being the Fiend. And guys, by the way, if you highlight this, it's in red. I offer you one last chance at redemption. It doesn't have to be this way. The cave can no longer exist. We are going to burn it to the ground. A massacre is coming. Some pretty damn insane words from Uncle Howdy. Now, I think it's important we try to actually decipher what some of this could mean and why it's actually a big deal. So it really starts off with this keyword right here, value. Now, it's interesting that this is a story about value because we often equate value with utilization. That is not the case. The first person that comes to my mind here is Alexa Bliss. Now, the reason why I think of Alexa Bliss is because Alexa Bliss has been utilized a lot in WWE programming, but she hasn't always been given the ball to run with. Now, at times they've pushed her, and then at times she's kind of doing nothing. So I think of what is the Wyatt Six? What is the idea here? And of course, I might be deciphering this a little too much. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I do think there is a purpose in why every single person is being recruited into the Wyatt Six. So I'm talking about people who have maybe been given the opportunity, people who were utilized, people who the WWE brass saw something in, but didn't necessarily value them. The next line is, that is not the case. It is simply in the hands of the ignorant. Who is the ignorant? Now, I'm going to believe that the ignorant is a variety of things, but for one, it's the system. And I'll get to this in just a second. We often devalue ourselves as a result of the ignorance of those around us. Vince McMahon sure as hell made Bray Wyatt feel like he wasn't that good. It's a very interesting concept to think about leaders being in positions where they have done everything to stay at the top and to make you feel like you are little. We may have all experienced this in the real world, depending on where we may have worked in the past. Their words define us. I like this line a lot because as humans, it is very easy for us to take what other people say and allow that to dictate how we feel. It's not something I agree with. I like this a lot. When you free yourself from the preconceived ideas of others, from the lies, you become liberated. The Wyatt Six aren't baby faces or heels. They are about doing what is right for the Wyatt Six. That's the impression I'm getting here. I accepted my calling. Only then was I able to set the others free. Obviously, this whole faction is happening without Bray Wyatt because Bray Wyatt is no longer with us. This is really going to be the line that cements Uncle Howdy as the new leader. And I'm also wondering if WWE here could be teasing something with Uncle Howdy doing this because of the spirit of the Fiend. And the only reason why I think that is because of right here. We followed the words of the Red, and now we see. I offer you one last chance at redemption. It doesn't have to be this way. The cave can no longer exist. We are going to burn it to the ground. A massacre is coming. It's obviously very clear that whatever the YA6 does, it is going to be incredibly sickening. Now, again, this is just my interpretation from what we are seeing here. And like I said, we are going to get back to that image in just a moment, but I want to make it clear this is just my interpretation. Maybe I'm reaching, maybe I'm not, but this is just kind of the way I see things. And I'm actually excited that that is my experience with this, because I feel like a lot of people are taking a look at the QR codes and the teases, and everybody else is coming up with something different. Me personally, I think that adds to the fun. So I just want to make that very clear. But there is something that we need to discuss, and that is the image of Uncle Howdy. Ladies and gentlemen, when you look at this image, let's open it in a new tab. Zoom in. There is some text on it. Rev 13.1, Revelations maybe? Not sure. Look, this is a very interesting image. What's over here? I know there's some white spots. Maybe we could... No, okay, there's nothing there. Not a big deal. This is an image that is the cover photo. It's a thumbnail. Honestly, I feel like we're about to get a really sick, dark, twisted version of Uncle Howdy. And I don't know what it's going to be like. I mean, you could kind of see something right here. Maybe, you know, the beard is right there. Obviously, that looks like facial hair if you zoom in. It doesn't look like we're getting Uncle Howdy with the top hat. Maybe we are. I don't know. But I'm curious if WWE is going to be doing an alternate persona for Uncle Howdy. I'm curious if we see Bo Dallas in human form. And then I'm curious if we also see Uncle Howdy in a very sick, twisted, demented version of Uncle Howdy, similar to what The Fiend was. Now, keep in mind, before Bray Wyatt passed away, there was ideas for even a sicker, darker, more twisted, more crazy version of The Fiend. And I'm curious if that idea is crossing over. But this is a very interesting photo. Now, maybe I'm tripping here. This stuff right here, the white lines, I feel like that's supposed to be a message of some kind. And clearly I'm not smart enough to decipher what it could be. But if you look at this right here, where I'm moving with the mouse, right here. So left side and right side right there. These like little black waves or whatever. Maybe I'm tripping, but we saw that image the other day of Uncle Howdy in the woods. There's a lot of people saying there's a connection between that and the woods that that Bray Wyatt was part of during the Wyatt family, you know, when he was doing the NXT vignettes. I don't know. But to me, like, this is the grass, this is the trees. I don't know. Maybe I'm just completely thrown off here. But my point that I'm making is it's a very interesting image because I feel like I could interpret it in many ways, and I feel like it is making me even more excited for what is to come. I think we're going to get Uncle Howdy and the YA6 at Scotland in Glasgow. Scotland, obviously going to be a rowdy crowd. It would be a fantastic way to end the pay-per-view. And who would be their target? That's the big question. I want to see your guys' fantasy booking in the comments, because I've talked about how wins and losses don't matter for this character. WWE is obviously putting together something very intricate. Me personally, the way I'm kind of looking at this is that WWE could be in a very good spot by putting them in a massive feud with somebody like Cody. And I've talked about this too many times on my main channel, so just watch it over there. I'll put the link in the description. But long story short, they don't need to win. It doesn't matter if they win or lose. It is very clear when you look at that message from WWE.com. It doesn't say anything about winning here. It says a massacre is coming. We're going to see some violence. That's what I'm expecting.